Hello there, my name's Daniel Metra, and welcome to the ERTL collection update. This is video number 13. Normally they say the number 13 is very unlucky. However, I'm sure you'll agree after watching this video that for me it wasn't quite that unlucky. I've managed to get hold of quite a few ones that I didn't have, and some of these, when it came to collecting in particular, I found very rare to get in the boxes. I mean, obviously if you look on places like eBay and Amazon, there's loads of engines like them. There's lots of Thomas, there's lots of Percy James, sort of the regulars. Even think ones like Wilburton 16 and Bill and Ben. There was lots of them around. However, I managed to get a few different ones like Murdoch and the biplane, and they were very hard to get indeed. So I've been quite lucky. And this is going to be the last video for a while, because there's only about 4 that I don't have now, which are Emily, Jock, Spencer, and Bertram. But like I said, I am on the lookout to hopefully get them in the future. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and please enjoy. So here you can see I've got a few more ERTL ones. One that's not ERTL, but I'll talk about that in a few minutes. So first off, start off with Godred. So Godred was a bit of a conceited engine that had an accident on the mountain railway. Thought he knew better. As you probably know, Godred was only in the railway series of the books. And as you probably know, the Culdee railway engines, based on which is the Culdee Fell Railway in the railway series, is based on the Snowdon Mountain Railway. And I've actually seen. I climbed at Mount Snowdon back in 2009, and one of my first videos was a steam engine actually puffing down it. I never actually rode on the railway because it was very expensive, and obviously I went there to climb the mountain. But in the future, if I might like to go back there and actually go on the railway. It looks very interesting, and I've actually walked alongside it, and I went to the actual station and that. And I mean, back then I wasn't on YouTube, so I didn't film much of it. But I'd certainly go back and film it again. And obviously, as you know, I went to the Talcum Railway back in March. And I think Wales is definitely a good place to go for railways. There's loads of them. And I often get people say to me, what railway would you recommend? I always say go to Wales because there's loads of great ones there. But anyway, that's Godred. Next one to move on to is the tar and the milk wagons. And if you look at the description card, it says that these freight wagons rarely cause mischief for the Fat Controller's engines, or, well, it says the top and hats. But anyway, that's probably because they have no faces, although in the TV series there were some wearing the narrow gauge truck faces in some episodes, but in general tankers don't tend to have faces, which is probably part of the reason why they don't cause any mischief. This one was made in 2003. And again, it's nice to have some more trucks in the collection. Now this next one to move on to is definitely one of my more favourite ERTL models. And as you know, there's ERTL models like the Sodor taxi, the Dyson low loader, and with those ones, if you were to put those on a model railway, they look very realistic indeed. You wouldn't even know they were Thomas ones. This biplane is also known as Tiger Moth. It's first seen in Series 5, crashed into a haystack, was a bit reckless. In the magazines, Tiger Moth actually has a face. In some ways, it'd be nice if they'd have put it on in the TV series, but I mean, obviously, this is before CGI, so I mean, how they'd have got a face onto a model looking like that, I don't know really. And I'm really pleased to have this one, because to my knowledge, this is a really rare one to get in the box, especially this type of packaging. The type of packaging that I've mainly seen it in is the type that the tar and milk wagons come in. And as you know, I have this one actually out of the box as well. But my one out of the box, I think to my knowledge, actually did come in this type of packaging. And if you look on the back of the box, this was made in 1999. And to my knowledge, that was when it was released. There's nice description card. Again, it talks about his first episode when he crashed into the haystack. And another thing with this one, you might notice, well, whoever owned it before me did like little lines, and he was probably just marking off which ones that he had for his collection, which is sort of fair enough. But I mean, in general, this one, and also there's a price tag just there, and I can't seem to get that off. But again, I'm not too fussed. You know, I'm only keeping it for my own sort of collection. I'm not intending to sell it on or anything just yet, so I'm not too fussed about it. And I mean, the box itself is in really good condition on the front. So, you know, I'm not too fussed. And like I said, I'm really pleased to have that one because from my experience, this was a really rare and hard one to get. And I'm still actually in shock that I'm stood here now holding it, talking to you lot about it. I got these 3 off of eBay quite recently. I also saw this one, which is by a company called Vinyl, and what I like is it's the old Thomas tank engine logo. Again, all the and I like the old Thomas tank engine sort of merchandise. And if you turn over, you can also get Thomas Toby in this range. It says this was made in 1993. Again, that was the year that I was born. Yeah, I'm saying, and it'd be nice to get the Thomas and Toby another time if I see them. I haven't actually seen any around since I bought this one. But anyway, that was something a bit different I wanted to show you. And then another one I got, although it's not Thomas' tank engine, it's still an ERTL one. I got the Postman Pat van, and I have a few other Postman Pat ERTL ones, and Fireman Sam. And again, I like things like this because I mean, Postman Pat and Fireman Sam were on when I was younger, and it's nice to, you know, I sort of collect this sort of stuff because it's sort of memorabilia from my childhood. And I like to keep it in the box and things like that and look after it and keep things, you know, preserved. And it's important to preserve things because otherwise, you know, in the future, they're not going to be around. And like, if, you know, if we ever have grandchildren or anything, they're not going to know what things are like. So I always like to keep things in as good condition as possible, sort of thing, really. And you know, it's a hobby of mine collecting. So you know, and here you can see the other engines that I've got. So first off, start with Henry. So here's Henry. You may remember I do actually have another Henry that's in the box. However, the difference is that one's the really old style packaging and has a paper face, whereas this Henry has a plastic face. And you know, I like to have a bit of variety, so it'd be nice to have some more paper face ones. But it's nice to have the plastic face as well. And in general, the plastic faces were a bit better because after a while the other ones did come off after a lot of play. Whereas these plastic ones, although they may get the odd scratch, they do stay on. I think the box is really good of Henry, and it says that this model was made in 1993. Again, that was the year that I was born. And I like this type of packaging. I think it's a really good animation of Henry there. Not much more to say really, but again, it's a decent model of Henry. Next ones to move on to Donald and Douglas. So first off, we'll start with Donald. Again, a good animation on the top there, and nice description card. Again, it was made in 1993. It's collector card number 9. Obviously, Donald's engine number 9. Next, move on to Douglas. Again, a really good illustration. They more look the same. Of course, the difference is just the faces. And the model's really good. Again, both models, the faces look the same. But the only difference is obviously the nameplates and the numbers. Obviously, Douglas is number 10, Donald's number 9, as I said. So there's a description card. This one was also made in 1993. And so when it came to collecting them, Donald and Douglas were actually really hard to get, and I'm still quite surprised that I managed to get them, to be completely honest with you. I'm sure you'll agree that a lot of the ones I do have here are really hard to get if you are an ERTL collector like me, particularly in the boxes. It's quite easy to get them out of the box, but to get them in the boxes is quite rare. So I'm definitely going to keep these ones in the box. This is my most favourite one, and certainly one that's really hard to get. Murdoch. Again, this model of Murdoch's really good. His face is really good. Looks just like what he did in the TV series. I also have the Hornby Murdoch. The Hornby Murdoch was also quite hard to get at the time when I got it, and that's actually one of my most popular videos on my channel. And if you haven't watched that video, then please do. This is in the newer 2004 type of packaging. Murdoch was one of the last engines to be released, along with Jock, Arthur, Fergus, Jack and Alfie. You've probably seen from my other videos that I have Fergus, Arthur, Jack and Alfie all in the boxes. Now I have Murdoch, so I'm really pleased to have this one. It's collector card number 97. Nice description card. Really nice animation of Murdoch. And again, it says it was made in 2004. 2004, like I said, was the year the range was discontinued, and Murdoch was one of the last models to be released. Next one's to move on to. Oh, the next one I move on to, sorry, is Culdee, one of the mountain engines. As you saw earlier in the video, I've got Godred, and I've also got Lord Harry. Lord Harry was in another video that I did. This is a good model of Culdee. And if you look at my channel, you'll see that I've been to Snowdon before, and I filmed an engine going down it. Unfortunately, I didn't get to ride on the train, but maybe when I'm a bit older, I'd like to go back to Wales and have a ride on the train again. And so that's Culdee. And it says this model was made in 1995. Just about to see there. Quite a nice description card. So as you can see here, I've got Iron Bert and Iron Harry. Now these models weren't actually that expensive, and you may remember in another video that I did, I showed you my Harry and Bert. However, as you can probably see, the difference is these boxes are a lot better condition. So I decided to buy them again in better boxes, and that's the problem with ERTL really. Obviously, because a lot of them are hard to get, sometimes you do have to buy them in boxes that aren't that fantastic. Obviously, if you want to keep them boxed, I mean, in general, I'm not too fussed really. I'd rather have an immaculate model in the box and not always too fussed about the box. But like I said, these weren't too expensive anyway, and I thought I might as well, get some that were in a nice looking box. The next one I move on to again is another one that I found quite hard to get. Skarloey. Again, this is in the newer type of packaging. It says this one model was made in 2002. Nice animation. Collector card number 18. And you remember I actually rode on Talclin, who Skarloey is based on, when I went to Wales back in March. And I've also got the Backman Skarloey. So I guess really I had to have this really. And what I like about this model is it's got the gold band around the funnel, like what Skarloey did in the TV series. As I said, the CGI model of Skarloey lacks that. And so does the back model, but you can easily paint it on if you really want to. So I'm sure you'll agree Skarloey is quite a special one. This model doesn't actually have any coloured buffers. Sometimes they come with stickers. This one doesn't even come with any of that. The buffers have just been left plain red. It's a bit of a shame, but I mean, if you did take this model out of the box, which I'm not going to, but if you did, you could always paint the buffers on it anyway. It's not a huge loss, really. Next one I move on to, again, one that was quite hard to get hold of, was Thumper. Thumper was first seen in Series 5 and only in one episode, unfortunately. And although he wasn't much of a character, I would have liked to have seen more of Thumper, really, even though his machine was sort of based on more or less nothing, and probably wouldn't be allowed in real life because obviously the driver can't see because of his face. But this does look like what Thump looked like in the TV series, and I thought he was quite a good character. If you turn over, see this was made in 2002. And I've got the Thumper unboxed as well, and I brought that from Hamleys. And a few years ago when I went to Hamleys, there was a good display of Thomas in Lego, as you can see here. Next one I move on to, again, these were really hard to get. All the ones here, I'm sure you'll agree, were quite hard ones to get, because although all the ERTL discontinued, there are some that are harder to get than others, and I found new ones like Murdoch are even harder to get. But anyway, this was a hard one to get, but it's Gordon's special coach. But the thing is, it says coach, but there's actually 2 coaches, as you can see here, so I don't know why it just says a special coach. And also, you know, as you know, I've got the express coaches as well, and obviously you get 2 express coaches. Here you get 1 special coach and an express coach, and you don't really need another express coach. It'd been good if they'd done at least 2 of those coaches, as Gordon was seen pulling 2 of those coaches in the Series 5 episode, Gordon the Gremlin. The coaches later on became Spencer's, and they come back in the CGI series, and they look quite unusual and a lot more detail, I think it's fair to say. I've also got those coaches in the Hornby range, which you've probably seen on my channel before. The next one I move on to is Brake Van. And if you turn it over, if you read the description card, it says, Brake Van is a Brown Guards engine. He is a disagreeable engine who always causes trouble. He does, however, work very hard with Dalton Douglas to keep the trucks in order. And that is a complete lie, that description card. I don't know who actually designs the description cards, but that is nothing like the Brake Van, I'm sure you'll agree. I don't know why it's got that description card. And obviously in the end, Douglas broke him and crushed him to pieces, you probably remember. The face on it's quite good. It sort of looks like what it did in the TV series. But like I said, it's a really nice model, this, and so this was quite a hard one to get. But again, I'm pleased to have it. It comes with the new U-hooks, which the newer range did. This was released in 2002, as you can probably see on the back of the magazine here. I've got all the ones that were released in 2002 now. Like I said, I've got pretty much most of them now, engines, but there's still a few that I haven't got in the boxes, such as Emily, Spencer, Bertram and Jock. But I'm just going to keep on looking. I mean, I managed to get Murdoch quite recently, and Murdoch was obviously a hard one to get, so, you know, who knows, I might be able to get them in the future. I'm quite lucky. Lastly, you move on to Catherine the Mountain Coach. Again, you've probably seen in my other videos that I have Catherine. However, I got this one because the box was a bit more better condition. It wasn't too expensive either. Catherine's Culdee's Mountain Coach. Obviously, I showed you Culdee a few minutes ago, just there. If you turn it over, here's the description card. And this was released in 2003, which is correct, because that was the year that Catherine was released, along with Isabel, Spencer, and Emily, and Diesel D7101. So these are all the ones I managed to get quite recently. As I said, there's a few others that I still don't have, but I'm always on the lookout. So if I'm lucky, I might be able to get hold of them. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please like, comment, subscribe. You can also now follow me on Twitter. And links to all the other videos that I've done are in the description below this video. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.